guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Suzanne. I'm an elementary music teacher from the state of New Jersey, and I'm also the owner of the Magic of Music on Teachers Pay Teachers. Nice to meet you. It has been a little while since I have posted a video, about 2 weeks. I don't know if anybody noticed. I was going through a couple of little, I don't want to scare anybody, I had some health problems going on. I went to go see a doctor, do the right thing. They're doing some tests to kind of find out what's going on, but I kind of needed to take a step back to focus on self-care, which is something I am not always the best at. So I am on the way back up. I'm here with a really important video today. I was going to record something different today, but this video was just kind of screaming in the back of my head. So I'm going to move the video that I had planned to next week. Okay, so today's video is a very important topic. Today's video is going to be on how to protect yourself as a teacher. And you might be thinking, what do you mean protect yourself? There's unions, there's things like that. And we'll get to all of that. Unions are wonderful. Administration is usually wonderful. If you're in a good school, they're wonderful anyway. But I had to kind of learn everything the hard way my first couple of years. And if this video can help anybody who is just starting out or maybe finds themselves in a work situation that they don't know how to handle. By the way, this doesn't have to just apply to teaching. This could really apply to any career that you are in. I would say keep on watching. I hope you will find this advice helpful. Okay, so I want to start by saying that I'm not going to get into really specific stories with this because I don't think it's relevant, but what this situation is going to apply to is anytime you're in a work situation that your professional integrity is compromised. I guess that's the best way I can put it. So a lot of the times with newer teachers, and by the way, I had to learn all this stuff the hard way because when I was right out of college, the advice that I was given, or I wouldn't say it's the advice, but what was kind of drilled into my brain coming out of college as a music education graduate was any job is a good job because music education is a very competitive market. People say music is a competitive market. Music ed is also very competitive. It is hard to get that first job. So my professors in college, and I love them to death, but they were drilling to us, any job's a good job, any job's a good job. But what I feel like they didn't prepare me for is how to recognize when something has crossed the line between professional and inappropriate and how to handle it as a first year, second year teacher, a non-tenured teacher. And again, like I said, I kind of had to learn all of that the hard way. I am not the same teacher I was my first or second year. I think that's a good thing. But again, if this can save anybody, I hope it will. So like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics, and I'm thankful to say that the majority of these situations occurred at previous districts I worked in. I have not worked in the same school district my whole career. I'm now with a really wonderful district that for the majority of the percent of the time they have had my back. They've protected me. I hope to be there a long time because I love the school and the district that I'm in. So, okay. Moving forward. So this situation, a lot of the time when you are a new teacher starting out, it's going to be with parents. And that's not to like shame all parents, because I can tell you that I have met some parents that have been wonderful. I have met some parents that I I've become friendly with, and we talk on a regular basis. And a lot of the times when you have a parent getting upset with you, a lot of the times it's a misunderstanding. However, there are those outspoken parents. There are the parents that are going to fight for their children. And I'm going to also say that I feel like, especially in the United States, teachers are bullied by parents. And it's not, again, it's not all parents, but there's that one parent that speaks a little louder than another, and you get that email from them. And I've been there. I've gotten emails from parents that have reduced me to tears. And sometimes when the parent is sitting behind a screen, they don't realize that they're talking to another human being with emotions. Teachers are not like emotionless robots, right? So something I wish I had known or been brave enough to do my first couple of years is to actually just pick up the phone or schedule a meeting with the parent when I get these emails. And I know that sounds terrifying because that idea terrified me, but I find that when you get a difficult email from a parent, that if you pick up the phone and call them, or you schedule a face-to-face meeting if you really think it's that serious, I find that a lot of the times when they are hearing your voice or they're face-to-face with you, it disarms them a little bit, or it just de-escalates it a little bit, if that kind of makes sense. So I now, in retrospect, and COVID makes it tricky because we're virtual right now, so I would be setting up a Google Meet, but when I do get those emails, which, they still happen, I try to set up one of those options, a video call, a phone call, something like that. Now, if you get one that's really, really crossed a line, then you want to get administration involved. And if you have a good administration, they should be protecting you from this if you are in the right. Like if you truly did do something wrong, right? Then you need to own up to it. You need to professionally own up to it and, let them know what you're going to do moving forward to avoid that. And don't be afraid to admit mistakes. Teachers are human beings. Sometimes parents need to know that. But if you have gotten something that you really feel like has crossed a line, and the tone of the email or whatever it is makes you so uncomfortable that you really do not feel comfortable calling this parent yourself or meeting with them one-on-one, then I would bring it to your administration. And don't be afraid to have a meeting with your principal there, or your supervisor there. And again, I cannot stress this enough. If you are in a good school, your administration should support you with that parent. They should back you. I mean, their administration is supposed to, have the best interests of parents at mind, but they also should be taking care of their teachers. So if you are in a school that you don't feel like your administration would support you if one of these things came up, I don't want to tell you to look for another job, but I would look for another job, because you do want to find a place that you feel supported and you feel protected. Now, so like I said, that's the first thing that can come up, is usually with parents. Now, where it gets trickier is when it comes up internally in the workplace. So these can be situations with a toxic administration, which I've experienced. It can be with a toxic colleague, which I have experienced. And those situations can be even more difficult to navigate. Again, I'll tell you that a lot of these have occurred in other districts where I've worked, and some of them resulted in me choosing to leave the district. And I can tell you that the advice I was given in college of any job is a good job, I truly believe that is false. If your job is waking you up in the middle of the night from night terrors, that's not a good job. If your job is literally making your heart beat like this, that's not a good job. If you are afraid to go and work, if you are afraid of your boss, that's not a good job. And I have experienced all of those feelings. And I'm still dealing with them, even though I have been long gone from that school for years. So let's talk about toxic administration first. And actually, I think toxic colleagues, toxic administration, I think they both go hand in hand, but there's an easier way to deal with a toxic colleague than a toxic administration. So I would say for both things, and even for parents, documentation is the most important thing you can do to protect yourself. I don't care if it is the very first message that you've ever received that seemed off, save it, document it. Start a spreadsheet on your computer. And I know this is going to sound like you are overreacting, but start a spreadsheet on your computer of the date, the time, what the communication was, whether it was an email or a phone call, how you responded, and then just save screenshots, save emails of everything. Because if that situation does escalate, you're going to be thankful that you started that documentation process from the beginning. Sometimes the documentation doesn't help you, but a lot of the times, if you have everything in writing, that can really help your case when it is an internal issue. I did have a situation with a colleague that got inappropriate. She was messaging me outside of school hours. I don't want to go into detail about what it was about, but they weren't professional. They weren't appropriate. They were borderline harassment. And like I said, I kind of did everything wrong. I didn't really start to figure out that I needed to document until it had already been going on a couple of months. So in hindsight, I wish I knew what I knew now, and that from that very first message, I wish I had started that documenting process. The next thing I'm going to say is, if it is with an administrator or a colleague, try to find somebody that you trust and that is above that person. So if it's a colleague and you trust your supervisor, your principal, try to get them involved early. Like, let them know what's going on. I feel like, in some of these situations, I was very naive, like thinking, oh, maybe it'll stop, maybe it'll settle down. Sometimes we blame ourselves. We think, oh, maybe I did do something wrong. Maybe I'm overreacting. And a lot of the times we let those situations get worse and worse and worse and worse. So nip it in the bud early. Start that conversation with someone you trust. Now, I've also been in situations where, and thankfully I don't work this place anymore, but I couldn't trust anybody in my administration because the administration itself was toxic. And, and that again led to me choosing to leave the school. Now, if things are escalating and they are getting worse, I would start to send whoever that administrator is, whoever you feel like you can trust. Maybe it's even your union reps if you need to get your union involved. Start to send them, your documentation as it's ongoing. And this is hard for me because I'm an emotional person, but I had to learn to kind of harden myself in these situations and take emotion out of it. So I kind of would send these things when they occurred almost like a book report. So it could have been with a parent, it could have been with a colleague, it could have been whatever. But at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, so-and-so sent this message. And I would put it. I wouldn't put, it made me feel like this. It made me cry. It made me cry at my desk. I'm uncomfortable. Like, then it just becomes too, you are making it unprofessional. You need to kind of take emotion out of it and just lay out the facts, and then let that administrator or whoever it is that you are trying to get involved make their own judgment. So I know a lot of these times these situations can be very damaging, and you need to try to find an outlet outside of admin to make yourself feel better, whether that's just, playing an instrument like I would do, reading a book, maybe finding a therapist to talk to, but don't bring your emotions into these situations. You just want to kind of report them for what they are. Now, if you are not getting results, like if the situation is continuing to escalate, I would escalate it. So again, this is a mistake I made. I had a situation that was getting worse and worse and worse. And in hindsight, I wish I had chosen to escalate it earlier. But again, you're always in the back of your mind with these situations. A lot of the time, you are doubting yourself. You're giving benefit of the doubt to the person, and you don't put your best interest first. So yeah, that is pretty much my advice for protecting yourself. Document early, communicate with an administrator that you can trust. If you don't have someone you can trust, you might want to consider seeking new employment. And if you don't get results, then consider escalating it further. And also just always remember to remain professional, keep emotion out of it. And, and just my last piece of advice is that this is your career. And nobody is going to protect you better than you are going to protect yourself. I honestly wish in college that some of these things had been told to me, other than any job is a good job. To me now, a good job is a job where I'm going to be heard, I'm going to be supported, I'm going to be fought for if I truly am in the right. If a situation is really wrong and unprofessional, and that's where I feel like I am now. I'm very comfortable in my job, but I can't say I didn't escape some other schools and some other situations without scars. So again, if you found this helpful at all, I know it was a little, like a little wordy, but I'm hoping you got something out of it that was helpful to you. So if you did, I really would appreciate if you would put a like on this video so that other teachers might be able to find it. If you have tips for protecting yourself in the workplace, whether it's teaching or another career, please put that in the comments. That really will help anybody out who finds this video. And thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.